All right, sometimes you just gotta let the music breathe just a little bit. How's it going, everyone? This is Sage Clements. I am a security professional here at Sage Knows IT. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Today, I want to go ahead and talk about one of the most requested items that I get from people through the blog, through Quora, as well as by email is how do I pass the CompTIA Security Plus exam? Now, I'm gonna give you my personal tips that I think that is gonna help, and honestly, it only will take 5 tips, and if you're serious about it, these 5 tips should make all the difference in the world. Um, but before I go into it, just go ahead and hit us up. Hit us up. Go ahead and uh, subscribe to our website, www.sageknowsit.com. There's a lot of great information there, tools, blog reviews, tech product reviews, things of that nature, including this one here. I'm going to go ahead and post a blog post on this one, so that way you guys have it. I will put a link in the show notes here. So just go ahead and look at that there. If you're joining us on YouTube, thanks so much for joining us on YouTube. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share this out to all your friends. So here we go. So if you didn't know, the Security Plus is a entry level certification given out by CompTIA, which is a agnostic certification, industry certification. So it's vendor neutral. A lot of companies do look for these types of certifications for IT professionals. CompTIA has a little over 9 certification programs. Um, and for this particular track going up into the Security Plus, it's usually A plus, Network plus, Security plus, Cloud plus, and then the CASP, and some of the more advanced practitioner examinations. So Security Plus, I will say this, that the if you don't have knowledge into computers, I would recommend not starting with the Security Plus exam. You may want to start with the. I would study for the A plus, but then just take the test or study for the A plus and the Network plus, and start there. Those will give you a good fundamental knowledge base before you attempt to go for the Security Plus exam. So that would be my, first and foremost, my recommendation for that. So, but if you are, if you're tech savvy, you understand the way networking and hardware, and you have some general knowledge on the security side, and you're wanting to, you know, you're gun ho about the Security Plus, then by all means, these 5 tips should help you. So the first and foremost, what really helped me pass the CompTIA Security Plus exam was staying positive. Sometimes we get into our minds, and we're just like, all this negativity comes out. I can't pass it. It's going to be too hard. I hear all this feedback online that this is a tough test, and you get into that mindset that I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, and all that negativity stifles your progress. So being positive is first and foremost the very first step if you want to go ahead and pass the CompTIA. You got to keep that positive mental attitude, because if you feel like you can pass it and you tell yourself that you can pass it, you're going to be confident enough, and all that anxiety that you have is just going to go to the wayside. So first and foremost, just stay positive when you're attempting to take this Security Plus exam. Next, you can't do anything if you don't study. I mean, it's that simple. You have to study for this test. You cannot wing it. I think it's like a 300 or $400 test. So I definitely don't recommend winging this one here. But as far as like study material, there's a plethora of material out there that's like widely and freely used and available. You can also go to like your local half price bookstores, and a lot of the books for the Security Plus are there on the shelves just collecting dust. So why not pick it up? I mean, instead of paying $60, you're only paying like $10 for the book itself. It's a pretty good deal there. Some of the material that I use to pass this test, and one of my favorite resources to use was Professor Messer. So if you guys have not seen Professor Messer or have not heard of Professor Messer, I would recommend going to professormesser.com. I'm gonna actually show you guys my screen so that way you can see. You can see it. You could just go into Google, type in Professor Messer, and it will come up. So let's go ahead and let me just show you real quickly. There we go. So I just typed in Professor Messer there, and so Professor Messer, I mean, he has a lot of free content when it comes to CompTIA. He has the A Plus, Security Plus, Network Plus. He also holds weekly like Q&A or pop quiz sessions as well. He has great videos that you can follow along with, and the way that he communicates, it's amazing. It's easy to understand and to pick up. So if you haven't been there, go to professormesser.com. That's definitely a great resource there. Also, Cybrary is also a good one, and Cybrary is free. If you haven't been to Cybrary before, go to cybrary.com, sybrary.it. I said .com, but I meant IT. I'll also put a link in the show notes on this one here. But they've got a lot of things when it comes to focuses for IT. So as you can see, their Network Plus is there, Security Plus is there, but they also have some more advanced stuff as well. If you become a pro member, you also get access to study guides as well as labs, mock tests. So it's really good to do this one here. Most of the instructors are very easy to understand. They give great examples, and I highly would recommend doing this one here. And then the last study material that I used was the CompTIA Security Plus Get Certified, Get Ahead study guide by Daryl Gibson. This is widely available on Amazon. I recommend that you use the ebook or get the ebook, the Kindle version, for two reasons. One, it's easier to follow along with. If you're like me though, sometimes when I read, I fall asleep. I'm not gonna lie. I read, I fall asleep, and I wake up 2 hours later, and man, all that time that I could have used for studying. So just a quick ninja tip: if you've got like an Amazon Echo or Amazon Dot, you can actually have Alexa read the book for you while you follow along and take notes and create flashcards, which I highly recommend. You can easily get through this book on a weekend by using that particular method. So why not? I'll have a affiliate link in the bio here. So if you want to pick up a copy of that, feel free to use that link to do that. Greatly would appreciate that. So again, these are great opportunities, great tools, and there's a lot of them out there. You can use podcasts. Podnuts is also a good one as well that you can use. But the main point is when you're studying, make sure that you're not just reliant on one piece of information or one piece of tool to do your studying. It's better to do it on a layered approach. Study with one material, then study with another, and then study with another. That should really help you get along from a study aspect of it. The next tip, use practice tests. After you complete your first wave of studying, you want to make sure that you're practicing either using like flashcards, or I used Quizlets to kind of help me gauge, and I would do 50 questions at a time, and then I would figure out figure out what I was getting right, what I was getting wrong, kind of figuring out the patterns there. Earlier I was talking about Cybrary, and one of the great things that I like about Cybrary itself is that if you are under their pro plan, you get access to simulator tests, which will tell you where you need to focus on. So that's also a great thing. You can also track your calendar, like say that you plan on taking the test, in August. it'll actually map out your studying habits and help you guide you to that point. So it's also a great tool. I can't recommend Cybrary enough. And then the last, or not the last thing, but the next one I would recommend, and also use flashcards. If you're not using flashcards, use flashcards. From there, after you take your practice test, it's a good idea to identify where your opportunities are, which is my next step here. It's not good enough just to know that you've got them right and that you understand it, but it's also important to understand what you got wrong. And by focusing on the ones that you have wrong, it'll give you, like, you'll get a better understanding of where your weaknesses are and how you can improve on those weaknesses or those opportunities. In my case, what I typically do is I test. And then once I test, I figure out where I got wrong, and then I write a blog post about it and kind of compare and contrast what I thought it was and what it really is and where I went wrong. And sometimes when you put it down on paper, in my case, it's easier for me to retain that. So I love the opportunity to understand where I make mistakes and to improve, and that might actually help you as well. So the last tip that I would say, and this is probably should have gone like right under the stay positive section there, but schedule your test. Like, I mean, really schedule your test. You know, when you're when you're consistently scoring over 80%, then you should know, like on the simulation tests, you should already know that you're ready for the test. So go ahead and jot it down. Don't delay. You know, next month, schedule your test, and keep practicing, keep studying up until that point. But when you go out and you purchase that exam, like, your mindset is already in the mode. You're gearing yourself to, like, you can't back out already, right? And a lot of times we procrastinate when we don't have a confirmed commitment in place. So, and it's very easy for us to get distracted, especially if we don't have a commitment in place. So make that commitment and schedule your test early. You know, if you're not tech savvy, you may want to wait a year and schedule it a year. If you are tech savvy, you may want to do it in like 3 to 6 months. But just go ahead and schedule it. And, you know, and procrastination is the killer of progress. So don't be that guy and don't be that lady. Just go out there and do it. So these are my 5 tips. Again, you know, stay positive, study, use practice exams or tests or simulations. Identify your opportunities and which ones you're getting wrong, and schedule your tests. You do those 5 things, you will pass the CompTIA Security Plus exam. So that's it. Those are my 5 tips. I hope you guys found that helpful. If there are other tips that you feel that you used that helped you pass the CompTIA test, or that's helping you retain the information, please feel free to drop a comment in this video here. We'll greatly appreciate that. Also visit our blog. I will have that complete list and mock out and all the links available there as well. So just go to www.sageknowsit.com. And just go there. There's a lot of great material there. I'll have a link in the bio as well on that too. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak with you today. And good luck on passing that CompTIA Security Plus.